So I've seen them come and go, and right now there are very few that are doing it simply because of the complexity. They have to be done correctly, otherwise they won't get funded by HUD, and then they're going to eat them. And
so that's why a person should find a specialist to help them through the process.
It is absolutely important, and I always use the example, you love your general doctor, but if you wanted something, your eye surgery, you'd probably get an eye specialist to do it. And it's the same thing here. You want a specialist that knows what they're doing to do it. And,
absolutely.
They call a specialist because this is all we do, is reverse mortgages. We don't do forward mortgages or banking or any other thing. It's focusing totally on this program.
So you know what you're doing.
We know what we're doing, yes. Experience is a very good teacher, and we've been through there, and we want to do it right because it is an important step for those seniors.
Well, in terms of flexibility then, once a person gets a reverse mortgage, are they locked in there, or can they make payments on it to reduce the...
You know, that's the nice part. The reverse mortgage is probably the most flexible product that's out there from terms of the benefits that you can receive and the payback. There are no requirements for a payback as long as they meet the requirement of that's their primary residence. But sure, if they have excess money and they want to pay back, you can pay back at any time. They get a monthly statement, so they're always aware and informed as to the activity on their account. So yes, they can make a payment if they so choose. I honestly don't know of anybody that ever has. They can always find uses for that money. But
yeah, well, you know, it just makes so much sense. You know, people for generation after generation have been there, and I've seen so many people, you know, in a house needing cash flow to live a better lifestyle, but they haven't had this tool to unlock this. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity.
Absolutely. You know, I've got several couples where the home has been handed down generations, and their big concern is they don't want to disrupt that. They want to make sure that happens, and that's one of the things that will happen. HUD does not want to get the house, so it's always going to transition to the family according to their wishes. So that is a guaranteed thing that will happen, and yes, this opened up a whole avenue. I have the privilege of working with so many different people of needs, and the one thing we know for certain, and that is our Social Security check isn't going up, but our costs are going up, and where are they finding the extra money? They've got a big savings account there called their house that they now can tap into and use for their needs and their benefits, and that's why I'm keeping on. It's so exciting at the end of the day to know that you help somebody have a better life.
Yeah, well, and I know that, you know, working with credible specialists like you, people have a much better chance of success. You know, we've looked in the press almost weekly. You find out some sort of a scam of, you know, guys having people get reverse mortgages and buy annuities or whatever with them with the proceeds. And, you know, not to say that every time they do that, it's a scam, but it might not be fitting people's needs.
Well, that's the thing. We've got an organization called NORMLA, the National Reverse Mortgage Lending Association, that's very active in overlooking the activities of the program because, yes, we want to keep it on the level, and you always get some of those that get entrepreneurial and try to create, you know, other uses or needs for it. Investments probably aren't the ideal way. It's to have a better financial life. And that's why it's so important that they do their research. One of the safety features I might mention that's built into the program, Randy, is if it is a true HUD program, it's required to have a HUD counseling session by a HUD-approved counselor. They issue a certificate of completion, and that's what we need before we even start the process. So there are safety features built in that's for the consumer's protection that I really like, and I'm really comfortable with the program.
Yep, and regardless, you should have any financial decision you make, you should make sure that you're working with a credible specialist professional.
Boy, you bet. You know, I see them all out there, and there are some very creative things. One that's really off the wall, they actually turn over the title to that lender, and that looks pretty enticing to them because they're going to give them more money, and rightly so, but guess what? They have nothing at the end of the day either. So
yeah.
It is important, Randy. You're exactly right to do their research, and we can certainly help them through that maze.
Okay, well, Jim, thanks so much for being here. I'm sure that we're going to generate some interest from people. And how can they get a hold of you to talk to you about a reverse mortgage?
Great. You can either contact Randy and he'll get in touch with me, or call me direct at 605-348-1364. and I'll be happy to help them. And I want to stress one thing: I'm not selling a thing. I'm here to help them. So if I can help with any question or any part of the process, I'd be delighted for the opportunity to assist them.
So if somebody calls you, is there a consultation fee?
Absolutely not. There's never a cost. I'm glad you brought that up, Randy, because with this HUD FHA program, you never should have to pay any money up front. If you're paying money up front, it's a flag. So no, there's no money up front. There's no cost to it whatsoever. All those closing costs are paid through the process of the loan, and if the loan doesn't get completed for whatever reason, you don't owe a penny.
Fantastic. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add, Jim?
No, other than thank you, Randy, for the opportunity to help spread the word. That's the greatest challenge that we have. It's such an exciting and important program, but there are people out there that have heard about it but don't know where to go for information, and I want them to feel comfortable giving me a call so I can help them.
And one last thing, are you do you work in a lot of different geographical areas, or do you?
I can go anywhere, basically South Dakota, and I do quite a few up in North Dakota. I get some in eastern Montana and Wyoming, but basically South Dakota, but I can go anywhere.
Okay. So I'm going to strongly encourage you, if you have equity in your home and you're 62 and you want to unlock that equity in your home, please, number one, work with a credible specialist professional, and you now have a real good place here to start. So feel free to give Jim Adelman a call, and I'm sure he'll get you all the information that you can need to get started properly. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it.